So this video is actually a kind of a request. It wasn't one I was sort of thinking of doing, but I wasn't really sure. But I was asked to do a video on all the books that I have collected regarding Kabbalah, which is quite a lot. Yeah, I kind of get addicted to collecting books. I mean, I don't think I could really put myself in a position of recommending what to get. I can only go through what I've read and what I haven't read. This one, Power of Kabbalah, which is very easily available on eBay or whatever. Quite a nice intro. There's some quite nice thought-provoking ideas in there. It's a Kabbalah Center one, so it's kind of their way, their approach to it. But yeah, good sort of starter, I suppose. And then the Zohar, which is edited by Gershom Scholem. I think it's pronounced Scholem. This one's more, it's like, it made me think of, you know when you go to the supermarket and there's someone selling like little bits of cookies and you can have a little bit of a cookie. So you get what a big cookie would be like. It's a bit like that. It's like a few little samples, if you like, examples from within the Zohar. So it gives you a flavour of what the Zohar's like. I mean, the actual Zohar is a huge, I mean, a massive multi-volume book, or books. So that's just, I mean, you can see how slim it is. Again, easily available. And then there's the Secrets of the Zohar, which again is a Kabbalah Center book, which is kind of an expansion on the Scholem, actually. It's sort of examples from the Zohar with the discussion, and you can see the original Aramaic, and it gives sort of little meditations, things for you to think about. It's quite nice. I actually really enjoyed this one. And there's like little, it'll have like Aramaic text and then the sort of phonetics underneath, so you can kind of say it, and then it's got an English translation there as well, and you know, relates to sort of various issues: overcoming fear, finding light in the darkness, when you need to remove envy and jealousy, connecting to your soulmate, drawing in miracles. You know, you got all these different things that you can do. So again, quite a nice sort of intro. Yeah, enjoyed that one. And on the subject of Zohars, I've got these little ones. So that's that's specifically with connection to soulmates. Lech Lecha, I believe it's called. Yeah, Lech Lecha, connecting to soulmates, which gives sort of what the Kabbalist perspective on that. And then there's lots of Aramaic in this, which obviously I can't read a word of it at this point. So there's that one, and then a sort of a more, the idea is that you can have this with you as like a talisman. Zohar for healing and protection, and it's not, they're both quite similar actually. They go through the sort of origins of the Zohar, and give, you know, little samples, little meditations, little thought-provoking little points there. So yeah, so that's the stuff that I've read. So that's how far I've gone outside of my other studies, like Zoom courses and things, and then this is all the other stuff. Sefer Yetzirah, Book of Formation, which I've had a look through, and it is mega esoteric. That's all I can say. All to do with like letter sequences and numerology and all sorts. Little slim volume, but quite deep. I mean, I don't know how old this is, centuries old, I would imagine. I'm not really sure. I mean, this particular book was 1923, first published 1923, so nearly 100 years old, and it obviously goes back prior to that. So, an interesting one, learning biblical Hebrew. I had this years ago and lost it. I think when I was a student I had this. But it gives you, like, you know, the alphabet, the vowels, you know, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, He, Vav, Zayin, Shed, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samech, Hayin, Pe, Saud, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Tav, and so on. But I've yet to really put any of this into practice. I don't know if you can you really learn language from a book? I don't know, but we'll see. More Gershom Scholem, very interesting guy actually. He did a lot of books about esoteric, particularly Kabbalistic and kind of Jewish folklore and this kind of thing. So his Origins of the Kabbalah, which is really, I think, that's like where my interest lies, is probably as much in the history as in practice. So obviously that's he was professor at, I think, a university in Jerusalem, if I remember. Yeah, very interesting guy, into a lot of interesting things. Although I think he was actually, for him, it was pure academic. You know, it was just the history of someone, this person wrote this here at this time and da-da-da. I suppose I'm looking at both like putting stuff into practice as well as just learning about the history as well. This one was recommended, the Holy Kabbalah by A.E. Waite. I mean, the size of that. Oh, do you know, I just love the smell of old books. See, yeah, that one's to come. The Red String book explains the Red Bracelets, which is basically about, like, warding off negative intent. I'm struggling for room on this desk. Kabbalistic Magic, friend of mine on Instagram, I was looking through this one. Very esoteric, yeah, lots of like spells, a bit like kind of like a grimoire, I suppose, but particularly Kabbalistic. Way of Kabbalah, Zev Ben Shimon Halevi, who I think was actually British. In fact, there's an interesting guy, I can't remember the name, Chaim Falk, who is a British-based Kabbalist, who's not actually buried in London, but no one really seems to know very much about him. I tried to visit the gravesite, but you can't get in. You gotta like book, I think, to go in there. It's all like walled off. But yeah, this was like back in the 1700s, I think. So again, this one, you know, you see stuff recommended, and it's like, okay, you know, I'll go for that one. Gershom Scholem again, major trends in Jewish mysticism. So that's not just Kabbalah; it's other schools of thought as well. Again, just yeah, of academic interest, I suppose. Is, you know, it's about the Zohar, about Isaac Luria. Sabbateanism and mystical heresy, Hasidim, yeah, so interesting one. History of the Jews in England. I'm curious to see if it'll mention my guy Falk. This is, I mean, it's some very old book that's been republished, 1908 originally, so yeah, be interesting. Two Unlikely People, about the Bergs, who set up the Kabbalah Center in America. So it's their story and their influence, or what influenced them, and how they set it up and everything, which is quite interesting. I would think, again, the sort of the history part of it very much resonates with me. Kabbalistic Astrology. I've never really decided where I stand on astrology, generally speaking, like, because I was born on the cusp, apparently, of Taurus and Gemini. I would say, if anything, I feel more Taurian. Yeah, don't know. I don't know if I buy it or not. You know, I can understand the logic. I think to do with the influence of gravitation on cell structure and things like that. I think it was David Icke wrote about that, actually, about how, you know, the position of things is to do with formation. But I cannot but think that would it not make more sense if we were talking about the point of conception rather than birth? But I don't know, maybe I'm just being too logical about it. And this was another one, Magic of the Ordinary, which I was recommended. Apparently, you know, recovering the shamanic in Judaism. Not something you would normally associate with it. I think, you know, Judaism's sort of perhaps seen as quite straight-laced. Maybe, is that right? I don't want to offend anybody, but seems that way. But it's nice to sort of learn. So, I mean, I just want to, you know, I don't know, study things, learn things, fill my head with ideas. Perhaps some of it will be useful. Yeah. But on top of that, I'm still reading The Morning of the Magicians by Powles and Bergs, which is quite interesting. It took me a while to get into it. I don't know if it's because it's translated from French, but it just seems, the way it's written, I kind of struggled to get to grips with to begin with. But I kind of got into it. It flows quite well. It's broke up into quite manageable sort of chunks. It kind of covers a lot of things. I mean, I got it because they talk about like the Real Society and these secret societies and things like that, which is intriguing. Weirdly, they mention Kabbalah as well. Pardon me, but they cover the all these secret societies and things like that, and it's a kind of the beginning of the sort of the occult connections with the Second World War and the origins of the Second World War. But in that respect, I don't think it really had very much in there that I'd not already encountered, but it was quite nice to sort of go back to the origin point. But it does make you think whether, you know, how true it is, for want of a better phrase. Like, did Vril really exist? Maybe it may have done. I don't know. I mean, they don't really give a lot of information about it. They just sort of say that it existed and that it was from Bulwer Lytton's story, which I did read a number of years ago. But doesn't talk about like all this Maria Orsic and UFOs and stuff like that in that context. It does talk about UFOs and extraterrestrial life and this kind of thing. It's quite an interesting book, but it was written in 1960, so 62 years old, if my maths is right. Yeah, it's right. So it's a bit archaic, and it's quite interesting. They talk about like how things will be in the future, and then you look at like how we are now. But the overall thing is just talking about the progression and advancement of mankind. Yeah, I mean, it's intriguing. It's certainly, I would say that. You know, but it's quite tough going. But even, I mean, this stuff, I'm not going to sit and read all of this. So I've got loads of stuff. Just history books. I've got like British folklore stuff, quite a lot of that to read. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff going on, and I took up model making again, so I've been doing a bit of that just to pass a bit of the time. Yeah, not much else really going on. Work. Yeah, weather's not too great. I mean, I don't know what's going on out at the moment. I've been kind of struggling a bit, like the past few days. Like my mood's been quite low. I keep going through this kind of process. I actually was thinking it's almost like, you know, building a sandcastle on the beach. You know, it's all that, you know, it's all there, and then, you know, the tide comes in and washes it all away, and you're going to build it again. And that's how I feel. I keep keep going through this, I'll have the the low points for a few days, and then things will improve again. But I suppose it's not nice, and it puts me in a position. I'm sort of looking at my life and just thinking, what's going on? Really, it doesn't really make any sense. Part of me doesn't really think that reading books, making models, traveling, and it's fulfilling to a point. So I think I deserve a lot more than that. And it's like they say, it's the fate of our age that we fight in isolation, which can't quite pin the origin of that down. I know it was obviously used by Death in June, but I don't know if it was from Mishima or what, but it certainly feels that way. And in a way, I suppose I make these videos because it's my way of reaching out and trying to connect with like-minded people. Hopefully ones who understand what I'm really at, not projecting what they want. I'm sometimes I think painted as something I'm really not. Like, I don't know. It's like I don't really know what hatred is. I don't hate people. I don't even know supposed to say I dislike people, particularly individuals. Really get on my nerves. But I don't know. I think I'm probably one of the most laid back people I know. But people ascribe things to me that just aren't there. But no one ever asks me. Really, no one ever says, "What do you think?" to X, Y, and Z. But yeah. Yeah, but I think I'll leave it at that. I hope that's been of vague interest, at least. And I look forward to reading these over the next couple of years. I imagine that's what it's going to be. I am actually trying to put more time aside for reading. I know I mentioned it in the past few videos, but this 24-hour block of being offline, it's so nice. It just gives me, I can sit and read. I tend to read more so than say watch a movie. I'll read something about, I'll read a chapter, read another chapter, have some lunch, read another chapter. It's like that, and I can get through stuff. But I mean, I have a friend in Norway who gets through, I don't know, he does it like a couple of 100 books a year. I don't know how he manages it at all, and hundreds and hundreds of cups of tea. Yeah, so I need to up my game that way, I think. But then I'm, obviously trying to do other things as well, get out and live life and experience the world. But yeah, right. Well, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. And I look forward to any further suggestions for anything else, or any comments, or whatever. Feel free, and see you all soon.